So what are we doing today? Well, today, as you can see, I'm looking at my asparagus. So in my mind, this is what marks the first part of spring, or at least the warming of the soil itself. And when I first moved here, I had never planted asparagus before, and I wasn't sure whether it'd even grow here in Northeast Texas. But I took the gamble. In fact, I was moving from Arizona, and I happened to be in the military commissary, or like PX area, and I noticed that they were selling asparagus, and they had like different versions, different breeds of it, like Martha Washington. So I bought all the different versions I could, and this was like a test plot. And actually, this test plot is underneath my peach tree, which is also blooming, which is again indicating to me that either we're in a fall spring or winter is truly over. So the dogwoods bloomed, which is supposed to be an indicator here that indeed winter has ended. But we're like the 4th of March or the 3rd of March, and it just doesn't seem like it should be the end of winter yet. So as you can see here, this is what it looks like if you miss harvesting the actual stem. So you can see this is a really long stem, and it's a little spindly because I should have added some more mulch during the winter, or better soil, and kept on hilling it up. But and then this one's also, but they still taste good, so I don't really care. But I will definitely mulch. So this is what it's beginning to fern out, and as you can see, they look like kind of baby miniature asparaguses at the end, and it'll develop into a total like lacy fern, and the female plants will develop berries on them. And this is what happens. This stem here will turn into this if you don't harvest it in time. And it's like okra. If you let it go for a day or two, all of a sudden you got a fern and you missed your asparagus spear. So this becomes that, and you can see I pulled some back. I usually don't even trim mine back, but this is an example of, you know, what happens. It ferns out, and the male plants don't have berries, they just fern out, and then it just dies back, and I just kind of re-mulch it back into the soil. And as you can tell, I put rocks around it because, and I put it by a tree, kind of like probably a mistake, because it's only like 2 feet. My mounds are 2 feet from the tree itself, because I was scared that I'd run it over with the lawnmower or somebody would drive over it, and I didn't have this boat arc stack behind me. So, and my garage or barn is right there, and I was just scared either I or somebody else would just drive over it. So as you can tell, it's kind of on a mound, and that's because you first plant it on a trench, and in a trench, and then you kind of like make a little mound, and the crowns, which are like its root system, they're real, you know, they spin out, and they're kind of hard to plant. So an easier way is to put it kind of on a little baby mound and then let them spread out from there. That way you're like not crushing or twisting them. And then you, every year or so, like every other year, you mound a little bit more dirt, and then eventually it becomes like a mound. So you'll see all these rocks, again, me trying to remind myself that there's actually something here not to mow over or get rid of. And I had never planted asparagus before, so I was like shocked when I saw these ferny looking things. And they're actually kind of pretty, but they're not pretty when you're trying to harvest asparagus. So my asparagus comes up one here, one there, because I just don't have a whole lot of it. And it was an experimental plot. So now that I know asparagus grows just fine here, I will dedicate a place in my formed up gardens. I mean, I didn't even have a garden spot when I planted these. I just, in fact, this had been a rock garden by the previous owner and had a tarp on top of it, and it just rained all that whole winter. And so I just picked a spot and planted it. I just tried to keep it out of everybody's way or all the traffic, and I was putting in, you know, roadway and all kinds of, you know, major construction-y type things, and so I didn't run it over. So, and it's been now 9 years, I can't believe it, 9 years, and it has not died, and it does produce, and it will last, like they say, I don't know if I prove, but it'll last like 20 to 30 years. So you do have to wait like a year or two, but time passes so fast. I would just say, you know, just like your fruit trees, if you're just moving on to a homestead or a farm, plant. It may not be right, it might even fail, but get it in the ground, because you have to wait for things, and time passes. You're like, oh, I'll do it next year, but you know, next year comes and goes. So that's what we're doing today. So I'll just wait around for my spears to get fatter. These other ones seem to be getting a little bit thicker in diameter, and I'll enjoy the first harvest of spring, and that's your asparagus. So again, it's a reminder that I need to start getting in and going on the rest of my garden, which I have. I've already planted several seeds in my various different garden patches. It seems like I couldn't make up my mind where I wanted to put my gardens. And part of it's because one garden was for erosion, and one garden was, I didn't have a place to put all that extra dirt from the pond. And then just as I clear different areas, I try to improve them, and I put a garden there because then I know I'll be in there making it better. So that's what we're doing today. Good luck gardening. It's time to get going. Bye.